Hello, everyone, and welcome to the iSpring webinar series, where every week we talk about e-learning trends, share iSpring tips and tricks, and cover clients' cases. My name is Paulina. I'm the community manager at iSpring, and I will be the moderator for today's webinar. And at this session, we are going to talk about e-learning and how it can help you scale your business. And we will use our client's case study from Honeywell. As a speaker, I have invited Igor Gaponov. Hi, Igor. How are you doing today?
Hello. Yeah, all right. Thank you. I'm okay.
Awesome. So Igor is the head of the training center at Omnicom, and he will be more than happy to share his success story with you guys. And again, I would like to mention that this webinar session is being recorded, but I would like to encourage you guys to stay till the very end of it because it's a wonderful opportunity to address your questions directly to the speaker. And you can do so by sending your questions in the question box, and you should see it on the right side of the GoToWebinar panel somewhere at the bottom. And right now on the screen, you should see what it looks like. And I think at this point we are ready to begin. So Igor, let me please pass the mic over to you as well as the presenter rights.
Okay, thank you very much, Paulina. So I'll try to share my screen. In just a second. So yeah, now. The only thing I could not see my presentation.
Okay, I can see your screen right now.
Just a second, please.
Hi, John.
So it takes a couple of seconds. Got it?
Sure. Well, everybody else is joining.
So I'm ready.
Perfect. I will turn off the video right now so that it doesn't take the bandwidth. Okay. Thanks, Igor. You're welcome to begin.
Okay, thank you very much. Hello, colleagues. I'll try to share my experience with the e-learning systems, and I'll try to also answer your questions in case of any. So let me begin. The main contents of current presentation, of today's presentation, will be following. The first one, what is the very beginning stage of the e-learning system evaluation and e-learning system start process at company. Another point is about how to speed up the preparation of newcomers, how to squeeze the time of the performance of the transformation from newcomer to some competent employee. Another point is about indication or whether there are any bottlenecks, whether there are any kind of the question point in the process, and how to cope up with them. Additional point is about the certification process. So how we could eliminate some kind of cheating and frauds from the participants of that certification process. So if you're okay, I will start. So small things, small facts. I've already in the active usage of the management and e-learning systems since 2004. I have the initial experience by Mercedes-Benz with a big dealers network over the Russia and have launched the initial e-learning system for this company. After that, I have also the other employee experiences, Toyota Motor Russia, with the preparation and launch and also the usage process for the dealer network. And after that, I have enjoyed my experience by Honeywell in Russia with also very big dealer network with the successful process of implementation of iSpring software. If we are speaking about the very first stage of the e-learning system introduction or implementation at the company, the very first part, the very first step will be the goal setting. So what are the goals which will be the purpose of usage of the e-learning system? It could be following. As example, for the Honeywell, we have defined with the CO the following points. The first one were the reduction of training time for the newcomers especially. Then also important point, the cost reduction. The reduction of the cost of the training. And other point is the multiplication effect. It means how to increase the number of simultaneously trained staff. So how we can enlarge our auditory and do the training process as effective as possible. As example, the real goal setting were for the reduction of training time. So initially, initial process of training have been started from the 3 months, and with the help of the e-learning system of iSpring software, we have reduced this time till 2 months, and it could be also optimized further if we are speaking about some specific points or areas of education and training of the employees. Other important point, the cost reduction of the training itself. As example, the initial point of the training cost was that the traveling cost and the cost of the leaving the usual working place was pretty high at Honeywell, and we want, with help of the implementation of e-learning system, to squeeze as much as possible that cost for the training itself. There are some measurements. What are the costs per one participant per, as example, per year or per month or per half of a year, and we can manage these, we can measure this, and we can also use that kind of the numbers of the cost estimations as argumentation for the company management, if we want to implement some kind of e-learning system. Other important point is the possibility to increase the number of trained employees. So if we are speaking about not specifically the training of the company own employees, but the training also of the partners companies like partners sales staff or partners advisors, etc., etc. It could really the usage of e-learning system could be the tool to multiply that numbers of trained employees, not only by some kind of percent, but for 50% or more if you're proper if you are doing the implementation properly and if you organize the process itself really in the right way. So these are the real goals have been set before we start the implementation of the iSpring e-learning system at Honeywell. So if we are clear about the goal setting, then we can make the next step, and we can set the list of the requirements for the evaluation of the e-learning instruments. So as example, we can measure the financial numbers, or we can measure also the effectiveness of the system implementation. And according with that list of the requirements, we can measure and we can choose the right option, the right system for some kind of special implementation of such a learning system at special company, at a certain company. So if we are speaking about the real life, we have also to pay attention at IT costs. So the people who have been involved in the process of implementation of some software, they are aware about the really high costs of purchasing the license of the installation itself, then tuning the settings at already installed software, and also you have to check all the communications. You have to provide some proper hardware for that purposes, and you have also to maintain, to run the system itself. And if we summarize all that costs, the result will be pretty high. So other points which could be used as criteria for the e-learning system evaluation, they could be the availability of the very essential functions of the e-learning systems, such as available course management database, user management database, then also useful applications like mobile learning system, which allows the users go through the e-learning on their own mobile devices. Also, there are some important default default kinds of the masterpieces, or some already ready for use e-learning courses, or some images, etc. So you have also to pay attention on such points to create really complete picture of the usage and of the functionality of the e-learning system. Other important point, that's the law compliance, because there are very specific and strict laws in sense of user data storage, about the compliance with some license law, etc., etc. So you have also to comply with that kind of the law, which exists in some specific countries. Okay, last but not least, so that the convenience and also the user friendliness of the usage of the tool, of the control from both sides, from front end and from also administration end. You have to get some kind of very comfortable and useful tools to control and to manage the e-learning courses and e-learning system. So if there are the very small points, so there are not a big list of them. They are very according to common sense, and so you can build, you can set your own list of such kind of criteria. So if we are speaking about some economical points, it could be the cost per one user per year, per month, or the total cost of the system for, as example, for 6 months or for the 12 months. Other important points that kind of proof of the software quality, the stability of the software. So you want not to get crashes or failures during the process of training. So, and you want your system run properly without no failures, no crashes. Important point is also the convenient and useful statistics collection or statistic reporting system for the results or for the current numbers, current points to measure of the effectiveness of the e-learning system. Other important point, that's a kind of the tech quality support from the vendor side and the reaction time. So you want to be helped during the very short period, and you want to get assistance and support immediately after some issues with the e-learning system. Other important point also to be mentioned, that's the portfolio. What are the companies who already have experience with usage of this specific learning system, and what are their impressions, their experience with that kind of system. That's kind of the quality proof also for the evaluation of the e-learning system. So let's move also further. As example, if you want to purchase and to evaluate some existing e-learning software, you are going through a kind of the reports of the reviews. On the slide, you can see some kind of examples. You can get immediately access to. Also, there are some real life experience sharings through some platforms. So you can go through that and get a kind of very comfortable, complete view of the currently available e-learning software. So don't lose time to create your own. Yeah, initially you have to also to go through already through the already existing experience of other users. So, okay, you have your goals set. You have your criteria list ready. You have measured the existing software which is available for the learning purposes. So what are the next points to be aware of? As example, there is the possibility not to purchase the license itself for the software for the further installation and running by your company, but there is the possibility to use this software as server, software as a service approach, which is really makes your life easier, and also don't so demanded in sense of the cost of IT. So you really could cut the IT costs, and you can get a very effective solution for relatively small money. Also, there is the other plus, the other advantage of such solution. You don't lose time for the running the hardware by local IT specialists. You leave all the questions, all the surprises of that software to the vendor personnel. Other important point, you have to be aware of who are the students, who are according the training time, what are the demands for initial qualification and for the final qualification for them, and also important point, who control the demands for the employees, and who perform the content, who will prepare the content for the training courses itself. Because there is a possibility that the company itself, that the specialists, the science specialists will prepare content and will deliver it to you, or there is the possibility that there some kind of the external contracting company will prepare the complete course for you and will give you already ready to use content for the further application. Other important points about the ownership. Who owns the e-learning system in sense of who manages, who controls every day? That will be also important point to evaluate. And the important point to get system run through all the vacation time, all the leave time. It's a kind of replacement of the administrator for e-learning system. It should be also some kind of assigned person who can run the system itself in case of the main administrator will be not available on the working place. There are other possibilities that some kind of the departments will want to get the administration of their own employees, students, and their own courses by their own. So you want not to delegate the administration rights to the main administrator, and the process of the delegation of that administration rights and the level of access to the e-learning system management should be also very precisely regulated and controlled. That's also a point to be aware of. So, if we speaking about the process of the evaluation, don't forget to run the system by yourself to get your own impression of the your user experience. So you have to test the software you want to implement at the further stage, and you have really very thorough check points regarding the management, control, tech support, rights, the tools which will be available with the system, what are the qualification demands, who will be in charge of the support in case you want to be assisted. Also, you have to evaluate what are the amount of the initial data, the students' data, the contents you have to place within the e-learning system, what should be the tests to be prepared for the further implementation, what will be the cost structure, whether there are the possibility to use the multimedia applications and some kind of developed systems of the course structuring, like dialogues, like already existing sets of the images for the course preparation, etc., etc. So there is also important point to be aware of. There is the evaluation of the notification system and your own arrangements within the company with the management with the employees, with the managers of the departments, with partners network, and you have also to go through a kind of demonstration for that important partners, internal partners, in case of you want to run the implementation process properly, without any hurdles, without any bottlenecks. And you have to think about also how you will organize the training process of the system usage, how you will notify your partners about the available training materials of how to deal with the system, and who will be responsible to go through that process. Also, it will be it should be very good prepared, the process of the system implementation, the system kind of trial run, and the start of the regular operation of e-learning system. So that's not all the points, but there are some very important points to be aware of and to thought about. Also, you have to think about the course structure and the courses, the learning courses types. Usually, it could be, as example, the product courses. The usual system of the employee preparation is the preparation regarding the products lineups of the company and the processes which company runs with the partners and with the dealers network. Also, there are some courses about the process and functionality, how to install some kind of system, how to deal with this kind of system maintenance or system support. So not only the product itself, but the process, which is a part of the solution which company will sell through the dealer network and through the customers network. So you now will have some kind of complete picture about the solutions which could be available for the implementation of the e-learning. What are the organizational points you have to go through for the proper preparation, and you have also to think about the counterparts, the internal partners who will be responsible to for the collection of the user data, of the course preparation, of the system management, a kind of support for the students and for the internal partners, etc. And you have also to think about the preparation of kind of the instruction of the pre-training materials, of the quick start materials, and about the notification and the delivery of that kind of materials through the internal partners and external partners as well. So if you've done that kind of the preparation properly, if you're in line with the law, with the demands of the company management, or with the interests of the partners who will be involved in the training process, you're aware of the employees' problems which could exist during the implementation time with the system, you can really evaluate is that process have been done properly, or there are some bottlenecks in the process or in the system of the notification of the some kind of the support notification, etc., etc. And you have also to go through the control of the training process and results. So you really have to think about the management demands. So what will be the qualification of the trained employee? How to check whether the employee have get the really demanded level of qualification, how to check it, how to control it, how to retrain employee which has not got the proper result, and the tools for that kind of the control. That's the statistics of the training. It means you have to collect and you have to prepare the numbers, the figures, the statistics about the number of the trained employees who are already got the demanded qualification, who are now in the process of getting that qualification, what are the marks of the trained employees, what are the effectiveness after the training. So really go through that point of the measurement with the management who is aware about the real problems of the customers and of the partners. Set the real measurement for the employees' results. It's not 0 or 1 mark. It could be some percentage. It could be some kind of the demanded mark to get really qualification, about some 17% of the controlled content of the training, about 80% or more. So please do it together with the management and with the involved employees. If you have already collect some statistical data, so you have to prepare the results for the presentation for the company management and to evaluate the results, whether the training goals are reached, whether there are some kind of delta between the needed result and real result, whether there is some point to improvement for the content itself and for the training process itself. What are the retraining time for the employees with negative result, and what will be the organizational steps if the employees will not reach demanded mark. That all points should be some kind discussed and also have been agreed and to set it together with the management, with the company managers. So if we have already chosen some kind of the solution, if you have already prepared the system for the current run, so if you have already the results of the pilot run of the e-learning system, you have to perform some kind of audit. You have to measure whether the system fulfilled all the criteria you initially used, whether it is in line with the management goals, whether it is in line with the set training goals. So you have very point by point, step by step check the results of the pilot run of e-learning system, and you have as a result be sure that you've got already the proper e-learning system, your content is okay and in line with the demands of the management of the company, the training process itself is comfortable for the employees, and the tools, the controls of the system itself, they are really easy to use for your students. So if all marks are okay, so that's the sign you have to run the system itself in the full scale. Also, you have check the availability and the quality of the parts of the content of the training program, like scripts, simulators or simulations, demo videos, etc., etc. If you have already prepared the training materials about the system, please do the employees, the students, a kind of presentation to prepare them for the full-scale usage of that e-learning system and training program. And after they run, after the collection of the statistical marks, go through training results with the management to get their approval, their confirmation that they are okay with the chosen system, with the chosen solution, with the established and implemented training process, and with the contents of training as well. So there are some specific points in the training for some kinds of employees, so for some kinds of for some types of the students. You have to be sure about the qualification of the employees after the training. So you have to go through kind of measurement of the qualification. Usually that kind of the management called certification. So you have the certification process, you have the certification tests, and you have the specific tools and specific points to check of that process, of the testing, of the knowledge evaluation of the trained employees. So please be aware that the people behind the screen, that your students and employees are not dumb. They are very intelligent persons. They want to get result as easy as possible, and they won't try to cheat the system. They try to cheat the management. They try to cheat the administration. They try to get result as soon as possible, as easy as possible. And also you have to get some kind of the tools which will be exclude or will be kind of indicators for such kind of unwanted activity from the students' side. So you want to get a kind of testing system which allows you to be sure that the trained person really got demanded qualification level. So you have to prepare the tests and also the instrumentation for that within the iSpring suite. There is a special tool, the test preparation, and it could be very useful for you to prepare the tests in a very limited time with good results. So if we are thinking about this certification procedure, so usually in real life it should be restricted during the certain time. As example, the procedure of test could take an hour, as example, and it should be ideally run in the controlled area, in the controlled classroom, as example. So you have to inform and to organize the managers who will control the process of certification from the students' side about the control procedure. They have to check whether really the employees who will be assigned for that test are available, are in class, are present, that they could be controlled, because not all the e-learning tests could allow you to control by yourself the process itself, and you have to approve and to use some kind of control system for that purpose. Also, there are some kinds of test preparation. As example, to avoid the same tests for the people who are sitting together or side by side, you can prepare them little bit extended list of the questions, and then to use the procedure of the random access to that kind of questions database to get quasi-individual test lists for each person in class, as example. Also, there is other point to be aware and to think about. You have also to use the certain time. You have to use the certain date and certain time, and you have also to get a kind of identification system in case of very strict certification process. Also, there are the possibility to create some kind of prerequisites for persons who want to be certified for some qualification step, for some qualification level, and there are some already implemented instruments to get a check before the person goes to the test itself, whether the person has fulfilled all the points which are demanded for the certification procedure, whether the person has gone through all the courses and done all the tests which have been assigned for that training program. Also, there is the possibility to get really quasi-individual test lists for the very precise certification procedure for the employees. But it will really takes time for the persons who have to prepare that kind of questions database. As example, you can get a kind of preparation and a kind of the very clear indication of that tests. As example, we have here the screenshot of the iSpring instrument about the certain training course with the training quests with all the data about person who have run the test and their marks. So what are the level of the answered questions that is 80%? What are the correct questions? Whether the person fulfilled the demands for the qualification or not, and the additional data about the duration, about the special kind of the person answers for the special questions to go through the very individual process of the evaluation of the results of the training for that special person. Other example, you can get the statistics about the fulfillment of the demands before you the person will assign for the test. Here we have the screenshot of the statistics, which allows to go through all the courses with the data of individuals, of the users which have been complete some special training courses with the data, with the spent time, and other important points. So there are already integrated instruments for that kind of statistical reports, which is available with the iSpring software. That are potentially more or less important real-life questions, real-life points for the preparation and the initial implementation of the e-learning system. So I could share my personal experience with the iSpring suite and iSpring Learn. So there are really very effective instruments. As example, the process of the preparation before the initial run of the first training courses takes me about a month to go through the system, to understand the tools to prepare and to control the training program itself, and also to get the statistical data, to install all the initial user data, etc., etc. So it's really very intuitive, understandable. It's very user-friendly, and you have a very good support about the instrument and instrument implementation itself. As for the cost evaluation, so for the company and for the training purposes, we have set for the Honeywell here in Russia, it was really a bargain. I could say it's really open. So that's the very good the cost and the quality measurement and evaluation in that sense. So in the end effect, we have really just now have a very effective training process. We have the tools for the training control, training process control, and you have also the installed statistical instruments which can be useful for the presentation for the management side to prepare and to demonstrate them the effectiveness of such kind of the system. So I'm very glad, and I could really share my level of the appreciation of the iSpring software with you. So that are maybe the main idea I want to pass over. And if you now have a kind of questions, a kind of requests, I could share my experience with you. So I'm ready to answer the questions.
Thank you very much, Igor. I think that was a wonderful presentation and definitely a lot of information for our audience to absorb. And at this point, I would like to repeat one more time that I will be sending the video of the recording of this webinar to all our attendees and also to everyone who registered for this webinar. And also, I will be sharing Igor's presentation that he was using during this webinar. So you guys will receive both of these files.
Thank you, Polina.
Sure. So yeah, guys, Igor is ready for your questions. So if you have anything you would like to ask about, this is the best time to do that. And at this point, to allow our participants some time to ask their questions or to write their questions in the question box, Igor, what would be the best way to get in touch with you or to connect with you?
So I have already shared my account in the email, and you have also my data in the Facebook, so you can collect the questions, send it through the email, or can use the Facebook Messenger for that purpose.
Okay. All right. So I will be also sharing that information with our attendees in case they have any questions.
Okay.
All right. So guys,
Silence.
yeah. No, well, really, I think it's just a very big topic to get into, and it really requires some time. I mean, until you start getting into it, you won't have any questions, I think. So John says we will study and come back to you soon with questions. So this is what I have been
Okay.
thinking about.
Yeah. Fine.
All right. So
Hmm.
if we don't have any questions at this point, I think we can wrap up our today's webinar. And I would like to thank you, Igor, for covering it. I think it was wonderful. Thank you very much for making it possible today.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and Tony says, thank you, Igor. Excellent presentation. John says, thanks for presentation and explanation. Thanks from
Thank you.
Olaf as well. Yeah, lots to start thinking about. All right, and thanks to you, our attendees, for coming today. We really appreciate you because without you, this webinar wouldn't be possible as well. Okay, so I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will be sharing the invitation for our next webinar with you shortly. So have a wonderful day, everyone, and we'll see you at the next webinar. Bye, everyone. Bye, Igor.
Thank you. Bye.